Luna had lived in the mountain caves for 300 years, keeping herself hidden from the human world below. Her emerald green skin shimmered in the darkness as she moved through the crystal chambers she called home. 3 small dragons followed her everywhere she went like loyal puppies with scales and wings. Ember was the red dragon, no bigger than a house cat with eyes that glowed like hot coals. Storm was blue with silver streaks across his wings and could create lightning between his. Claw's shadow was pure black and could disappear into any dark corner, making him the perfect spy and protector. On this particular night, Luna had decided to bathe in the sacred pools deep within the cave system. The water there came from underground springs and held traces of ancient magic that kept her young and strong. She had removed her simple leather clothes and stepped into the warm, glowing water, letting it wash away the loneliness that clung to her like morning mist. The dragons played at the edge of the pool, chasing each other and sending small jets of flame into the air. Their happy chirps echoed off the cave walls, creating a melody that made Luna smile. She had raised them from eggs found in the deepest part of the caves, the last dragon eggs on Earth as far as she knew. As she floated in the phosphorescent water, her long silver hair spread around her like a fan. She closed her eyes and remembered when there were others like her, when the forests were full of elven villages and dragons flew freely through the skies. But that was before humans grew numerous and dangerous, before her people retreated and eventually faded away. Sudden flash of blue light filled the cave, making Luna open her eyes in alarm. The dragons immediately stopped playing and rushed to the edge of the pool, their small bodies tense and ready to fight. The light grew brighter and began to spin, creating a portal in the air about 10 feet from where Luna floated. 2 figures stepped through. The swirling energy in the portal snapped shut behind them. They were tall, maybe 7 feet, with pale blue skin that seemed to have its own inner light. Their faces were humanoid, but with larger eyes that were completely silver without pupils, or whites. They wore form-fitting suits made of a material Luna had never seen before, something that shifted between purple and green, depending on how the light hit it. The 2 beings looked around the cave with obvious amazement, taking in the glowing crystals and the impossible pool of light where Luna still floated. Then their eyes found her and they both froze completely. Their mouths opened slightly and their silver eyes grew even wider, if that was possible. Luna suddenly remembered she was completely naked in the pool. Her clothes were on a rock 20 feet away and there was no way to reach them without standing up and walking past the strangers. She sank lower in the water until only her head was visible, her pointed ears twitching with embarrassment and concern. The dragons took her distress as a sign of danger. Ember launched himself at the nearest stranger with a fierce little roar that sounded more like an angry kitten than a fearsome beast. The stranger caught him gently, in his hands, looking delighted rather than frightened. "Please do not be afraid," the one holding Ember said in accented but clear English. "My name is Kale, and this is my twin brother Zane. We are explorers from Zelaria Prime, a planet in what you call the Andromeda Galaxy. We mean no harm to you or your remarkable companions." Zane stepped forward slowly, his hands raised to show he was not a threat. "We detected unusual energy signatures from this location. Our instruments indicated the presence of beings that should not exist according to our database of Earth life forms. We had to investigate." Luna stayed low in the water, studying them carefully. They did not seem hostile, and Ember was not struggling in Kale's grasp, which was unusual. Little red dragon was actually purring, a sound she rarely heard him make with strangers. "You are not human." Zane observed, his silver eyes never leaving her face. "Your biological signature is unlike anything in our records, yet you appear to be a hybrid of several impossible genetic markers." "I am elvenkind," Luna said carefully, "the last of my people on this world, and you are trespassing in my home." Kyle gently set Ember down, and the dragon flew back to the pool edge, but did not attack again. "We apologize for the intrusion. We did not expect to find anyone here, much less someone like you, someone like me," Luna asked, feeling defensive after centuries of hiding. "Someone extraordinary," Kale said simply. "Your very existence challenges everything we thought we knew about this planet. Our people believe Earth contains only humans and simple animals, yet here you are, with skin that contains chlorophyll, allowing you to photosynthesize, and 3 creatures that appear to be mythological dragons. They are not mythological, Luna said with a hint of pride. They are as real as you and I, the last of their kind just like me. The twins exchanged glances, and Luna saw something pass between them, a communication that needed no words. They moved in perfect synchronization. As they both sat down cross-legged on the cave floor, their backs turned to the pool. "We will wait here while you dress," Zane said politely. "We have many questions, but we understand this meeting is unexpected and you deserve your privacy." Luna blinked. In surprise at their courtesy, she had expected them to either attack or flee, not to show such consideration. Using her ability to manipulate water, she created a small wave that carried her clothes to the edge of the pool. She dressed quickly while keeping her eyes on the twins' backs. When she was covered in her simple leather tunic and leggings, she called out, "You may turn around now." The twins stood and faced her, their movements still perfectly matched. Luna noticed they were not just similar, but identical in every way except for a small scar on Zane's left hand. Their silver eyes studied her with an intensity that made her skin warm. "Your dragons." Kyle began looking at the 3 creatures now perched on various rocks around the pool. "Wow. Is it possible they exist? Our scans show they have no logical biological system. Their energy signature suggests they are made of condensed plasma, held together by an unknown force magic." Luna said simply, knowing they would not understand. "They are beings of pure magic given form by will and ancient power. They chose to bond with me when I found their eggs." Centuries ago, Zane pulled out a small device and pointed it at Shadow, who had materialized from the darkness. "Fascinating, the readings are completely inconsistent with known physics, yet the creature clearly exists and shows signs of intelligence." "All 3 are intelligent," Luna said defensively. "They understand multiple languages, can solve problems, and have distinct personalities. They are not pets but companions." "We meant no offense," Kale said quickly. "We are simply trying to understand. Our entire civilization is built on the principle that everything can be explained through science. Yet what we see here defies those beliefs." Luna found herself relaxing slightly. These beings were not hostile, just curious, and after 300 years of solitude, even strange company was welcome. The dragons seemed to sense her easing tension and became more playful, Storm even flying a loop around Zane's head, leaving a trail of tiny sparks. "How did you find me?" Luna asked. "Earth has billions of humans, yet you came directly to my cave." "We have been searching for anomalies across the galaxy," Zane explained. "Our people sent out thousands of exploration teams to find proof that the universe contains more than what our science can explain. Some search for gods, others for parallel dimensions. We search for magic." "And you found it?" Luna said with a small smile. 3 dragons and 1 lonely elf in a cave on a planet your people probably consider primitive." Kale shook his head. "Earth is not primitive, just different, and you are not what I would call lonely anymore." The twins stayed in the cave for hours, asking questions about everything they saw. Luna found herself enjoying their company more than she expected. After centuries of hiding from humans who would fear or hunt her, these aliens looked at her with pure fascination and respect. She showed them around the cave system, pointing out the veins of crystal that carried magical energy, like blood vessels through the mountain. The twins recorded everything with their devices, making detailed notes in their musical language. Shadow stayed close to Luna while Ember and Storm seemed to adopt the visitors, chasing each other around the twins' legs. "This crystal," Zane said, touching a particularly large formation that pulsed with green light. "It responds to your presence. When you come near, it glows brighter." Luna nodded, placing her hand on the crystal and watching it flare to life. "The mountain knows me. I have lived here so long that we are connected. The crystals help me stay hidden from human technology, and they provide energy for my magic." Kale was examining some writing on the cave wall, symbols carved in spiraling patterns that seemed to move when looked at directly. "This is your language?" he asked. "Ancient Elvish," Luna confirmed. My grandmother taught it to me before she faded. It tells the story of how we came to Earth thousands of years ago when humans were still learning to make fire. The twins exchanged another of their silent looks, and Luna wondered if they communicated telepathically. She had met beings with such abilities before, though not for many decades. Your people came from another world originally. Zane asked, his silver eyes bright with interest. All life comes from somewhere else. Eventually. Luna said with a shrug. But yes, we came through a gateway much like the one you used. My ancestors were explorers too, seeking new places to live when their old world began to die. What happened to them? Kale asked gently, sensing this was a painful subject. Luna sat on a smooth rock, and the dragons immediately curled around her feet. Humans happened, she said simply. At first we lived alongside them, teaching them about plants and healing. We helped them grow from primitive tribes into civilizations, but as they grew stronger, they began to fear us. Our magic made them uncomfortable, and our long lives made them suspicious. She paused, remembering the burning villages and the hunts that drove her people deeper into hiding. The twins waited patiently for her to continue. One by one, my people chose to fade rather than live in hiding forever. They let go of their physical forms and became part of the earth itself. My parents faded when I was young, and my grandmother raised me. She taught me everything about our people, before she too chose to leave. And you remained? Zane observed. Luna smiled sadly. I was young and stubborn. I thought things would change, that humans would become ready to accept us. But centuries passed, and they only became more convinced that beings, like me, were fantasy. I learned to hide, to use glamour magic to appear human when necessary. But I always returned here to my true home. The twins sat down across from her, and Luna noticed how they moved in perfect harmony like dancers who had practiced together all their lives on our world. Kyle began, we are considered abnormal because we question the established order of things. Zolarians pride themselves on logic and scientific advancement. Magic is considered impossible, a thing of primitive imagination. Yet here we are, Zane added, gesturing to the dragons who were now playfully wrestling each other, faced with proof that magic is real, and wondering how many other impossible things might be true. Luna felt something she had not experienced in centuries, hoped that she was not alone in feeling out of place in the universe. These beings traveled between stars, yet they understood what it meant to be different, to not fit into the world around them. How long will you stay? She asked, trying not to sound too eager for company. Our mission parameters are flexible, Kale said. We are supposed to catalog anomalies and report back, but there is no specific timeline. Zane leaned forward, his expression intense. Luna, would you be willing to show us more of your magic? We have seen technology that looks like magic, but what you do appears to be something entirely different. Luna considered their request. Part of her wanted to keep her secrets safe, but a larger part was tired of hiding. Ainmar stood and walked to a section of cave wall covered in small holes. With a gentle whistle she called, and hundreds of tiny lights emerged from the holes. The lights danced around her head, and she held out her hands, letting them settle on her palms. The twins gasped as they realized the lights were actually tiny insects with wings that glowed like stars. Cave sprites, Luna explained. They are not magical themselves, but they respond to magical energy. I can ask them to create patterns. She hummed, a melody her grandmother had taught her, and the sprites rose into the air, forming shapes and pictures. They showed the story of the elves coming to Earth, the great dragons that once flew through the skies, and the slow retreat of magic as humans spread across the world. The twins watched in absolute silence, their silver eyes reflecting the dancing lights. When the sprites finally returned to their holes, both beings looked at Luna with something close to awe. Our entire civilization would be changed if they knew this existed, Kale whispered. That is why it must remain secret. Luna said firmly. Humans are not ready, and from what you tell me, neither are Zolarians. Zane stood and walked closer to her, stopping just outside what humans would consider personal space, but his presence did not feel threatening. Your skin, he said hesitantly. When the light hits it, There are patterns like leaf veins beneath the surface. Luna nodded and held out her arm, letting him see the delicate tracery that showed her connection to growing things. Chlorophyll and magic combined, I can survive on sunlight alone if necessary. Though I prefer regular food, I can make plants grow with a touch and speak to trees, though they are very slow. Conversationalists, Kale, joined his brother in examining her arm, and Luna felt strange being studied so closely. But there was no judgment in their eyes, only wonder. You are a perfect fusion of science and magic. Kale said, everything about you should be impossible, yet you exist as proof that our understanding of the universe is incomplete. Luna gently pulled her arm back, feeling overwhelmed by their attention. I am just me, she said, the last elf on Earth trying to keep dragons and magic alive a little longer. No, Zane said firmly. You are a guardian of wonders that the universe has forgotten. You maintain a bridge between what was and what might be again. The dragons chose that moment to demand attention, Storm jumping onto Zane's shoulder while Ember climbed up. Kale's arm shadow has always stayed near Luna, but watched the interactions with intelligent eyes. Your dragons trust us, Kale observed as Ember made himself comfortable on the alien's head. They are good judges of character. Luna said, most humans make them nervous, but you two seem different. We would never harm them, or you? Zane said seriously. We came seeking proof of magic and found something far more valuable. What is that? Luna asked. Kale smiled, the first real smile she had seen from either twin. A friend who understands what it means to be the only one of your kind. Luna felt tears form in her eyes for the first time in decades. She quickly blinked them away, but the twins had noticed. We have upset you, Zane said with concern. No, Luna said quickly. You have given me something I had lost. Hope the cave fell silent except for the sound of dripping water and the soft purring of the dragons. The twins seemed to understand that this was a significant moment, and they waited for Luna to speak again. Would you like to see the deep caves? She asked. There are things there that no human has ever seen. Dragon eggs that never hatched, preserved in crystal plants that glow without any light source, and a pool that shows visions of other worlds. The twins nodded eagerly, and Luna led them deeper into the mountain. She had not shown anyone these wonders since her grandmother faded, but somehow she knew she could trust these strange visitors from the stars as they walked. She began to tell them stories she had kept locked away. Stories of flying with dragons, of dancing with elves under the full moon of magic so powerful it could reshape mountains. The twins listened to every word, recording some things, but mostly just being present in the moment. Luna realized she was no longer performing for an audience or trying to prove anything. She was simply sharing her life with beings who genuinely wanted to understand. Deep in the mountain, Luna showed the twins wonders that had been hidden for millennia. The chamber of unhatched dragon eggs made them stop and stare in amazement. Each egg was the size of a basketball, preserved perfectly in amber-colored crystal that kept them frozen in time. These have been here since before humans discovered fire, Luna explained, running her hand over one crystal surface. Sometimes I can feel movement inside, like they are waiting for the right moment to wake. But that moment never comes. Kale scanned the eggs with his device and his eyes widened. The life signs are minimal but present. They are in perfect stasis. How is this possible? The old magic is stronger here, Luna said. The first elves who came to Earth worked with the dragons to create these chambers. They knew dark times were coming and wanted to preserve what they could. Zane carefully touched one of the crystals and jerked back in surprise. It's warm, and I can feel something like a heartbeat. Luna nodded. That one is special. I call him Hope because sometimes his heartbeat is stronger than the others. Maybe one day when the world is ready, he will hatch. The three dragons who had been following them flew around the egg chamber, making soft singing sounds Luna had never heard before. They landed on different crystals and continued their song. They are calling to their sleeping kin, Kyle observed. This is remarkable behavior. We must document this. As the twins recorded the dragon song, Luna led them to another chamber. This one was filled with plants that should not exist anymore. Giant ferns that glowed, purple mushrooms that grew in perfect spirals, and flowers that changed color based on who looked at them. The biodiversity here, Zane breathed, touching a vine that immediately wrapped gently around his finger. This ecosystem is impossible. It should have collapsed without sunlight and proper nutrients. Magic feeds them, Luna explained, just as it feeds me. These plants are from the old world, brought here as seeds and cuttings. They remember a time when magic flowed freely through all living things. She showed them how to communicate with the plants using gentle touches and soft humming. The twins were delighted when a flower bloomed, just for them, its petals forming a pattern that matched the markings on their foreheads. It knows we are twins, Kale said in wonder. It created a symmetrical pattern to honor our connection. Plants are smarter than most people think, Luna said. They just communicate differently. They spent hours in the garden chamber with the twins asking about every species, and Luna sharing stories her grandmother had told her about their uses. Some could heal any poison, others could make someone sleep for 100 years, and one special moss could allow someone to breathe underwater. As they explored, Shadow suddenly appeared from nowhere and tugged on Luna's sleeve with his tiny claws. He only did this when something important was happening. What is it, Shadow? Luna asked. The black dragon led them to a section of wall that looked completely normal, but Shadow kept circling it and making urgent chirps. There is something behind this wall, Zane said, scanning it. Our instruments show a massive hollow. Space Luna studied the wall carefully, then gasped as she recognized faint markings she had never noticed before. This is a door, but I do not know the opening spell. My grandmother never mentioned this. The twins looked at each other, and then at Luna. May we try something? Kale asked. Luna nodded, curious what they had in mind. The twins stood on either side of the wall and placed their hands on it. They closed their eyes, and Luna felt a strange energy building between them. It was not magic, but something else, something that made the air vibrate. The wall began to glow, and ancient symbols appeared, symbols that looked like a combination of Elvish and something completely alien. The twins opened their eyes and stepped back as the wall dissolved, revealing a vast chamber beyond. By the stars, Luna whispered. The chamber was filled with technology and magical artifacts blended together in ways Luna had never imagined. Crystal formations grew around metal structures that hummed with power. Floating, spheres of light drifted through the air, projecting images of star maps and unknown worlds. This is a fusion laboratory, Zane said, his voice full of awe. Someone was experimenting with combining magic and technology. Luna walked into the chamber feeling drawn to a pedestal in the center. On it sat a book made of metal pages that felt warm to the touch. When she opened it, words appeared in Elvish but slowly transformed into English as she watched. It is my grandmother's journal, Luna said, reading quickly. But from before I was born, she writes about visitors from the stars who helped her understand that magic and science were two sides of the same truth. The twins read over her shoulder as she turned the pages. The journal described experiments in merging magical energy with alien technology, creating devices that could amplify spells or store magical power for later use. Your grandmother worked with beings from other worlds. Kale said she was trying to find a way to save magic by making it compatible with the technology that humans were developing. Luna found an entry near the end that made her heart race. It described a prophecy about twins from a distant world who would come when the last elf stood alone. They would help bridge the gap between magic and science, making it possible for magical beings to live openly again. The twins looked at each other, then at Luna. You knew we were coming, Zane asked. No, Luna said honestly. I had no idea this room existed, or that my grandmother had met others from beyond Earth. But she knew she prepared this place for us to find together. Shadow chirped proudly, clearly pleased with himself for finding the hidden chamber. Ember and Storm flew around the room, investigating the various artifacts, and occasionally triggering small displays of light or sound. There is more here, Kale said, pointing to another book. This one appears to be instructions for building a device that could reveal magic to scientific instruments. If humans could see magic, Through their technology, they would have to accept it exists. Luna said, her mind racing with possibilities. Zane was examining a strange crystalline structure that pulsed with both magical and technological energy. This could change everything, not just for Earth, but for all worlds that have forgotten magic exists. Luna felt overwhelmed by the discovery. She sat down on a bench that formed from the floor, sensing her need. The twins sat beside her, one on each side. "This is too much," Luna said. "I thought I was just preserving the past, but my grandmother was planning for the future. She was planning for you," Kale said gently. "She knew you would be the bridge between the old world and the new." The dragons gathered around them, and Luna noticed. They were all glowing slightly brighter than usual. The magic in the room was affecting them, making them stronger. "We should study everything here," Zane suggested. "With your permission, Luna, we would like to help you understand what your grandmother discovered." Luna looked at the twins, these strangers who had appeared in her life just hours ago. But already they felt like friends, like the companions she had been missing for centuries. "Yes," Luna said. "We will work together. But first, I need you to understand something about magic. It requires trust and connection. It works best when beings open themselves to each other." The twins nodded solemnly. "We understand," Kale said. "On our world, we have a similar concept called the joining. It is how we maintain our twin bond across any distance." "Show me," Luna said, curious about their connection. The twins stood and faced each other, placing their palms together. They closed their eyes, and Luna gasped as she saw energy flow between them. It was not magic, but something equally beautiful, a visible manifestation of their bond. When they separated, Luna could see a faint thread of light still connecting them. It faded from normal view, but she knew it was still there. Now Zane said, "We trust you with our truth. Will you trust us with yours?" Luna stood and held out her hands. The twins each took one, and she let her magical disguise drop completely. Her skin became more luminescent. Her ears grew longer and more pointed, and her eyes shifted to show the ancient power within them. The twins did not flinch or pull away. Instead, they squeezed her hands gently, and Luna felt their acceptance like warm sunlight on her face. "You are radiant," Kale said simply. "You are yourself," Zane added. "And that is perfect." Luna felt tears streaming down her face as 300 years of loneliness began to crack and fall away. She was not the last anymore. She had found companions who saw her true self and found it wonderful. The dragon sensed the emotional moment and joined in. Ember sitting on Kale's shoulder, Storm perching on Zane's head, and Shadow curling around Luna's feet. Together they stood in the hidden chamber, surrounded by the legacy of Luna's grandmother and the promise of a future none of them had imagined possible. Over the next few weeks, the twins returned every night to work with Luna in the hidden chamber. They brought equipment from their ship, which was cloaked in orbit, and began to decode the fusion of magic and technology that Luna's grandmother had started. Luna learned that Kale and Zane were not just explorers, but scientists who had been cast out from their homeworld for their radical ideas. They believed the universe operated on principles beyond pure logic, and their people had called them dreamers and fools. "We were going to give up," Kale admitted one evening as they worked on understanding a device that could make magical energy visible to electronic sensors. "We had searched 50 worlds and found nothing but rocks and emptiness. Then we detected your dragons," Zane added. "From space, their magical signature looked like 3 tiny stars that should not exist. We had to investigate." Luna was teaching them how to channel magical energy through crystals, something that required emotional openness rather than intellectual understanding. The twins struggled at first, their analytical minds trying to force what needed to flow naturally. "Feel, do not think," Luna instructed, placing their hands on a large amethyst formation. "Let your emotions guide the energy. Magic responds to intent and desire, not logic and calculation." She demonstrated by sending her own energy through the crystal, making it sing with harmonious tones that filled the chamber. The dragons danced to the music, their scales shimmering in rhythm with the sound. When Kale finally succeeded in making the crystal hum, his face lit up with childlike joy. "I can feel it," he said. "It's like the universe is singing, and I am part of the song." Zane achieved it moments later, and the twins' crystals harmonized, creating a duet that made the entire chamber resonate. Luna felt proud, like a teacher watching students discover something wonderful. As they worked together, Luna learned about their world and the vast civilization of the Solarians. They showed her holographic images of cities that floated in gas giants and space stations the size of moons. They told her about the rigid hierarchy of their society, where conformity was prized above all else. We were born different. Kyle explained even for twins we were too synchronized, it made others uncomfortable. Our parents tried to separate us, Zane continued, but we became ill when apart. Our bond was seen as unnatural, so we learned to hide it to pretend we were normal. Luna understood that pain intimately. She showed them her own memories through the magical viewing pool, how she had spent decades practicing human mannerisms, learning to slouch, to hide her natural grace, to speak crudely to mask her musical voice. One night, as they worked on translating more of the journal, Shadow began acting strangely. He kept disappearing and reappearing frantically, trying to get their attention. He wants us to follow him, Luna said, recognizing the behavior. The little black dragon led them outside the cave for the first time since the twins had started visiting. The night was clear and the stars shone brilliantly above them, but Shadow kept flying higher, urging them to climb the mountain. At the peak, they found out why a ship was descending from the sky, but it was not the twins' vessel. This one was angular and aggressive-looking, with weapons ports clearly visible. Solarian military. Kale said, his face going pale. They found us. The twins moved closer to Luna protectively, which surprised. Hershey was the one with magical powers, yet they wanted to shield her from their own people. What will they do? Luna asked. Try to take us back? Zane said, for rehabilitation. They think our ideas are dangerous to social order. The ship landed, and a ramp. Descended 6 Solarians in military armor emerged, their faces hidden behind reflective helmets. They carried weapons that hummed with energy. Kale and Zane of the 3rd Scientific Division. A voice boomed from the lead soldier. You are ordered to return for corrective treatment. Your deviant theories have been deemed hazardous to proper thinking. Luna stepped forward before the twins could stop her. I am Luna of Earth, she said formally. These beings are under my protection as guests. The soldiers all turned their weapons toward her, and she heard the twins gasp in fear. But Luna was not afraid. She had faced worse than angry aliens in her long life. The lead soldier removed his helmet, revealing a face similar to the twins, but older and scarred. His silver eyes were cold and harsh. You are the anomaly, they reported. A biological impossibility that claims to possess supernatural abilities. Magic, not supernatural, Luna corrected. And your soldiers are standing on my mountain uninvited, the commander laughed, a harsh sound that made the dragons growl. You have no authority here, primitive. We are taking the twins and you will not interfere. Luna felt anger rise in her for the first time in decades. These beings had come to her world, threatened her friends, and dismissed her as primitive. She decided to show them exactly how wrong they were. She placed her hand on the mountain stone and sent her magic deep into the earth. The entire peak began to tremble and glow with green light. The soldiers stumbled as the ground shifted beneath them. The mountain is alive with magic, Luna said, her voice carrying power that made the air itself vibrate, and it does not like threats. Vines erupted from cracks in the stone, wrapping around the soldiers' weapons and pulling them away. The dragons added to the display, ember-breathing fire that formed a circle around the intruders, storm creating a cage of lightning, and shadow making their shadows rise up like monsters. The commander tried to reach for a device on his belt but found his hand frozen in place by invisible forces. The twins were manipulating the electromagnetic field around him using what Luna had taught them about combining science and magic. You see, Commander Kale said, stepping forward, we have learned something your narrow mind cannot comprehend. Magic and science are not opposites but partners. Zane joined his brother, and they spoke in unison, a technique that clearly unnerved the other Zolarians. We will not return with you. We have found our purpose here, helping to bridge 2 worlds of understanding. The commander struggled against the forces holding him. This is madness. You are throwing away your citizenship for fairy tales and impossibilities. Luna walked up to him and placed her hand on his forehead. Before he could pull away, she sent him a vision. She showed him the history of magic on Earth, the wonders that had been lost, and the potential for what could be regained. She showed him his own world and how magic might solve problems their science could not. When she released him, the commander staggered back, his eyes wide with shock and something else wonder. The twins helped Luna maintain the display of power until the soldiers retreated to their ship as it lifted off. Zane turned to Luna with concern. They will be back with more ships. More weapons. Then we must be ready, Luna said. We must complete your grandmother's work and find a way to protect Earth while opening it to the greater universe. Kyle took her hand on one side and Zane took the other. We stand with you, he said. Whatever comes, we face it together. The dragons made sounds of agreement and Luna felt something she had not experienced in centuries, the strength that comes from not being alone. They returned to the cave and worked with new urgency. They had to unlock the secrets of the fusion chamber and prepare for what was coming. The commander might return with a fleet, or he might report that Earth was too dangerous to approach. Either way, change was coming. Luna found herself not afraid but excited. For the first time in 300 years, the future held possibilities beyond mere survival. She had friends who understood her, and a purpose that extended beyond preservation. As dawn approached, the twins prepared to return to their ship but promised to come back the next night. Today changed everything, Zane said before they left. Luna nodded, understanding the weight of their choice. You gave up your world for this for me. No, Kale corrected. We gave up a world that never wanted us for a place where we belong. After they left, Luna stood at the cave entrance watching the sunrise. The dragons curled around her, radiating warmth and comfort. She thought about her grandmother and the plans she had made so long ago. The old world is ending, Luna whispered to the wind, and a new one is beginning. Shadow chirped in agreement, and she could have sworn she heard an echo from the chamber of sleeping dragon eggs, as if Hope had heard her and was stirring in his crystal prison. Everything was about to change, and for the first time in centuries, Luna was ready for it. 3 months passed since the confrontation with the Zolarian military, and Luna had never been busier or happier. The twins had moved their ship to a hidden valley near the mountain, and spent every day working alongside her in the fusion chamber. Had made incredible progress combining Luna's magical knowledge with the twins' scientific expertise. They created devices that could detect and measure magical energy, invented crystals that could store spells like batteries, and developed a translation system that could convert magical symbols into mathematical equations. But the most important discovery came from an unexpected source. The dragon eggs, one morning shadow, led them to the egg chamber and showed them something extraordinary. One of the crystals was cracking. Hope, the egg Luna had named, was beginning to move more strongly. It's reacting to the combination of magic and technology, Kyle observed, scanning the egg with a new device they had created. The harmonious energy we have been generating is awakening it. Luna placed her hands on the crystal and gasped. She could feel the dragon inside not just moving but thinking. It was aware and ready to emerge. We need to help it, she said. But I do not know how my 3 dragons hatched. Naturally, before I found them, Zane studied the crystal structure. Perhaps we can use resonance frequency. If we match the vibration of the crystal, we could help it crack without harming the dragon inside. They worked for hours with the twins, calculating frequencies while Luna channeled magical energy through the crystals. The 3 dragons sang their haunting melody, adding their own power to the effort. Finally, with a sound like breaking bells, the crystal shattered. A dragon emerged, unlike any Luna had ever seen. Its scales shifted colors like an aurora, and its eyes held intelligence beyond its newborn state. It looked directly at Luna and spoke not with sound, but directly into their minds. Greetings, guardians. I have waited long for this moment. Everyone stood frozen in shock. Even Luna, who had lived with dragons for centuries, had never encountered one that could communicate telepathically. You can speak, Luna whispered in awe. The dragon, which was already the size of a large dog, stretched its wings. I am different from my siblings who sleep. I am what you would call evolved. I carry the memories of all dragons who came before, and the knowledge of what must come next. The twins exchanged excited glances and began scanning the dragon with their devices, but the creature turned to them with what could only be described as amusement. Kale and Zane of Zelaria, the dragon said, making them jump. You seek to understand magic through science, but you are only seeing half the picture. What do you mean? Kyle asked. The dragon walked to the center of the room and breathed out a cloud of shimmering mist. The mist formed into a three-dimensional map of the galaxy, with points of light marking various locations. Magic exists throughout the universe, the dragon explained. But it has been sleeping, waiting for those who could bridge the gap between the mystical and the material. You three are the first of many who will restore the balance. Luna felt overwhelmed. Why now? Why us? Because the universe is ready, the dragon replied. Your world stands at a crossroads, Luna. Humans are about to take their first real steps into space. They will encounter other civilizations, and they must be prepared to accept that reality is broader than they imagine. Dragon turned to the twins. And your people, for all their logic and science, have lost something essential. They have forgotten how to dream, to believe in possibilities beyond calculation. You will teach them. Suddenly, alarms began sounding from the device the twins had set up to monitor space traffic. Zane checked the readings and his face went pale. 20 Zalarian ships have just entered the solar system. It's a full fleet. Luna felt fear spike through her. But the new dragon remained calm. This, too, was expected. It said, stand together and show them what unity between magic and science can achieve. They rushed outside to see lights appearing in the sky as the ships descended. The lead vessel was massive, a warship that could level mountains. But Luna noticed something else following behind, smaller ships with different designs. Those are not all Zalarian, Kale said in surprise. Some are Altarian, Rigelian, even Andromedan. The dragon spoke again. Your actions have been watched by many. The fusion of magic and technology you have achieved has sent ripples across space. Others have come to witness what was thought impossible. The warship landed and the same commander from before emerged, but this time he was not alone. Representatives from a dozen different species followed him, each looking at Luna and the dragons with expressions ranging from fear to wonder. The commander approached, and to everyone's surprise, he bowed. We have come to apologize, he said. Your demonstration opened our eyes to possibilities we had dismissed as fantasy. A tall being made of crystalline structures stepped forward. We are the Andromedan Council. We have legends of magic from our ancient past, but believed them mere stories. Your proof that magic exists changes everything. Luna found her voice, though her heart was racing. What do you want from us? A small furry creature with 6 eyes scurried forward, speaking in a high-pitched voice. Knowledge, understanding. We want to learn how to reconnect with the magic our ancestors knew. The new dragon spread its wings, drawing everyone's attention. I can teach you all, but there are conditions. Magic cannot be weaponized or used for conquest. It must be approached with respect and wonder, not greed and ambition. The various aliens murmured among themselves, and Luna saw doubt in some faces. The commander spoke up. How can we trust something we do not understand? Luna stepped forward with the twins flanking her. Let us show you, she said. Together, they demonstrated the fusion chamber, showing how magic and technology could work in harmony. They let the aliens try to channel energy through crystals, laughing gently when most failed at first. They shared the journal of Luna's grandmother and her vision of a universe where all forms of knowledge were valued. As the day went on, more eggs in the chamber began to crack. Dragons of different colors and abilities emerged, each one unique. Some could phase through solid matter, others could manipulate time on a small scale, and one could split into multiple copies of itself. The aliens watched in amazement as Earth suddenly became home to a dozen dragons, each one a living impossibility that challenged everything they believed. But the biggest surprise came when one of the Rigelian scientists managed to make a crystal sing with magical energy. Her tentacles glowed with soft blue light, and she made sounds of pure joy. "I can feel it," she exclaimed. "The connection to everything. It is like seeing color, after a lifetime of darkness." One by one other aliens began to succeed in channeling magic. Each species found their own way to connect with the energy. The crystalline Andromedans resonated with it. The furry creatures wove it into patterns, and the HFY Solarians learned to blend it with their technology. As the sun set, Luna stood with Kale and Zane watching aliens and dragons mingling in the valley. The twins had their arms around her shoulders, a gesture of friendship that had become natural over the months. "This is not what I expected when you first appeared in my cave," Luna said. Kale smiled. "Nor what we expected when we detected 3 impossible energy signatures," Zane added. "But perhaps this is what the universe intended all along. For different worlds to come together through the bridge of magic and science." The new dragon approached them carrying a message device. "Tomorrow human satellites will detect our presence. There is no hiding what has happened here. Earth will know. It is not alone." Luna nodded. She had always known this day would come when magic could no longer hide, when the wider universe would intrude on Earth's isolation. "Will you help us?" Zane asked. "Help humanity understand and accept what is coming." Luna looked at her friends, these twins who had seen her at her most vulnerable and never looked away, who had given up everything to stand beside her. She thought of the centuries of loneliness and how they had ended it simply by accepting her as she was. "Yes," she said, "I will help, and not just humanity. All beings who seek to understand the harmony between magic and science will find teachers here." The dragon spread its wings and released a pulse of energy that rippled across the valley. All the dragons responded with their own pulses, creating a symphony of power that the mechanical devices recorded as beautiful mathematical patterns. "Tomorrow the world changes," the dragon said. "But tonight, we celebrate the bridge that has been built." The aliens set up camps in the valley, sharing food and stories from their worlds. The dragons played with young aliens who had never seen such creatures. The twins taught a group of scientists how to create light sculptures using magic and technology together. Luna sat on a hill overlooking it all, feeling a peace she had not known in centuries. Shadow curled in her lap while Ember and Storm played with some Rigelian children. The new dragon sat beside her, its color-shifting eyes watching everything. "Your grandmother would be proud," the dragon said. She dreamed of this day when her journal was written. Luna smiled, tears of joy running down her green cheeks. She knew that somewhere, the spirits of all the elves who had faded were watching. Their sacrifice had not been in vain. Magic would not die with Luna, but would spread across the stars, carried by those who understood that wonder and wisdom could coexist. Kyle and Zane joined her on the hill, and together they watched the 2 moons rise over Earth. The sky was full of ships, but they no longer seemed threatening. They were full of beings ready to learn, ready to believe in the impossible.